It's the Rumor Report.
The Breakfast Club.
Well, unless you were under a rock, I'm sure you heard about the Bruce Jenner special with Diane Swayer. They came on Friday night.
Brucey Boo!
I'm sure that you tuned in along with 17 million people. Okay, that's the estimate of how many people watched that interview. Now, here are some of the revelations that Bruce Jenner told to Diane Swayer.
For all intents and purposes, I am a woman. People look at me differently. They see you as this macho male, but my heart and my soul and everything that I do in life, it is part of me. That female side is part of me. That's who I am. As of now, I have all the male parts. In a lot of ways, we're different, but we still identify as female. And that's very hard for Bruce Jenner to say. Because why? I don't want to disappoint people.
Now, I thought transgenders were the ones that get the full operation, the whole surgery.
Well, I don't know that he's a transgender yet. He just identifies as a woman, and he's been getting the...
But don't you call that a transgender, a person that identifies as a woman?
I think once you have to...
I don't know.
I think you have to get the surgery, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe that's a transsexual.
I think Bruce Jenner just wants to wear women's clothing.
Well,
and if that's the case, he can do that because Young Thug does it. And it's not like the Kardashian girls don't be dressing hot. It'd be hard not to dip in their closet.
Well, it's different because he said when he looks in the mirror, he sees a masculine image looking back at him, but he doesn't feel that's who he is on the inside. Now,
so wait, he wants to be a woman, but does he like men or does he like women?
He said
he's asexual right now, is what he considers himself.
Which confused me.
I'm confused.
And a lot of people got at me on Twitter because I said, well, if he's a woman and he has sex with women, then that makes him a lesbian.
Right, that makes sense. Right?
All right, well, let's talk about what he said really helped Kim Kardashian to understand, because he said she was the one that actually was the most receptive.
Kim told me a story. She goes, you know what really turned me around? And I said, what? She goes, Kanye. I went, oh, okay. They were talking about it. And he says to Kim, look, I can be married to the most beautiful woman in the world. And I am. I can have the most beautiful little daughter in the world. I have that. But I'm nothing if I can't be me. If I can't be true to myself, they don't mean anything. And since then, Kimberly has been by far the most accepting and the easiest to talk to about it.
Now, according to TMZ, Kanye said that he felt like he stood out when his career was taking off, but he had strong interest in other fields like fashion, and he feels like he was ignored. His true identity was ignored. And they were always trying to mold him into somebody that they could market better. But he said he finally felt true happiness when he stood up to those executives. And that's why he feels like it's important for Bruce to stand up.
Round of applause to Kanye. We never judged Kanye when he wore a skirt. So
a kilt.
A skirt. So he can give proper advice to Bruce on that issue.
Now, Chris Humphries also tweeted out after the special, man, I'm glad I got out when I did. # gotta do you.
That's not how I read that tweet. I read it, man, I got
He then had to clear up that tweet. He said, I have and always will support Bruce, hence gotta do you. Now recognize I was too vague and sincerely apologize for the way this came across. In addition, Bruce Jenner's ex-wife, Linda Thompson, has written a very revealing blog where she said some really interesting things. Now, this was on Huffington Post, and she's the mother to his sons, Brandon and Brody Jenner. And she talked about how he actually came to her when Brody was 18 months old and Brandon was 3.5 years old, and said, there's something about me that I really need to tell you, something you need to know. She said she thought he was going to say he had an affair. Instead, he said that he confessed that he identified as a woman. And she said, what do you mean you identify as a woman? And he said he saw a masculine image staring back at him when he felt it should have been a female. Now, some other very revealing things. She talks about how he started getting the hormones, so he was growing breasts and everything, and that he thought about having gender confirmation surgery. And he said that he would re-enter the kids' lives as Aunt Heather. That was his plan. But I guess he never went and did that.
You don't look like no Heather, Bruce.
Aunt Heather.
You know, my mom was going to name me Heather as well. So, anyway.
Well, I'm out here doing push-ups to try to get rid of man breasts. And Bruce, you can have mine, Bruce.
She talks about how one day she said her boys saw Bruce Jenner coming out of the shower and said, Daddy has boobs. And she said she started trying to cover for him at that point, trying to protect him, explain what was going on. She said she was devastated, but her heart bled for him because she couldn't imagine what it would be like not being comfortable living in your own skin. So, you know, she said it was very difficult, but
That's awkward.
Felt, yeah. It is.
What are the transgender rules and regulations, though? I need to know, because people got mad at me when I said that Bruce Jenner is not a heterosexual.
Well, I'm sure you can address that during Donkey of the Day.
Yes, I will, because I am upset at you people for being upset at me.
You people!
Just simply because I did not know.
So wait a minute. They're mad at you because
I said, Bruce Jenner said he's a woman.
He identifies as a woman.
I pay him the respect he deserves and say, okay, if you're a woman who likes women, you're a lesbian. And then Diane Swayer came right after that and asked the same question. So are you a lesbian?
Okay, well, that is your rumor report. I'm Angela Yee.
Don't be trying to confuse me on a Monday, man.
I got confused. That's why I turned it off. But people got mad at me.
All right.
On Friday night.
Well, Dawn to the day's next, and I see who you're giving it to.
It's going to those people who were mad at me for making the statement that Bruce Jenner is indeed a lesbian. We need to talk. I need y'all to come to the front of the congregation. I'd like to have a word with you. And then we'd like to open up the phone lines, and maybe somebody can give me some proper understanding of the situation.
All right, we can try it, all right? Dawn to the day's up next. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.